and we'll take it from there. So, as we always do with a podcast, I'll actually start the audio as well because audio helps.
Live from Los Angeles. It's time to get inside the Gamer's Dome with your host, Scott Gerhardt. Bringing you all of today's gaming news and information all in one place. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Welcome to the Gamer's Dome.
Welcome everyone to episode 48 of the Gamer's Dome. My name is Scott Gerhardt and I am your host. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is going to be an audio podcast as well, but if you're hearing it audio, I highly recommend that you go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thegamersdomeyt and actually watch this one because it's going to be very video oriented. If you're just catching the audio, you're going to probably get pretty lost pretty fast, and some of it may not make sense. But since for some of you guys, that's the only way you actually catch me, I need to at least put it out on audio. That way you find me. And I am assisted in this podcast by Melissa, a.k.a. Crash. How are you doing, Melissa?
Hey, Scott.
Hi. So Melissa's off camera today because we have two cameras, and you'll notice one of them is on me, which it probably should be on her. She's prettier. But the other one is, at the moment, on my hands. So why in the world are we doing a podcast where you're staring at my hands? That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, does it? Well, the pre-release was this last weekend here. And did a few. The last one we did was a two-headed giant event. We didn't actually plan on playing two-headed giant. It just kind of worked out that was about the only event left, and we wanted to play more. So we did. And we looked around the room and saw how a lot of people were building their decks. And I know how I build mine, and it was considerably different. And it got us to thinking about how team format building tends to be considerably different from normal format building. So a lot of people just were basically taking the cards and they were just building two decks and going with it, which I suppose you can do, except it doesn't really give you the best chances if that's all you're doing. So while I personally feel that two-headed giant constructed is actually a bit more skill intensive and harder to do than building for a three-man team sealed, with Grand Prix San Jose coming up, that's what I want to focus on. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I've been doing this whole competitive Magic thing for close to 20 years. We've brought Crash along here in the last 8 months or so doing it. She and I and another gentleman who... I bring this up for context, not because I'm trying to stroke my own ego, but just to kind of let you guys know that I kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about. It was me and Crash who had been playing for about 4 months, and the other person had not played a sanctioned Magic event since Onslaught. We tried to pick him up last second. With that team, we went 10-4, 23rd place at Grand Prix Portland. And I feel like a lot of the reason why we did that is because of our deck building procedure and a lot of stuff involved there. So that's what I want to go over here. Now, we have 12 packs that have already been pre-sorted exactly the way you would get them in a Grand Prix. Crash went ahead and she opened 6 Fate Reforged and 6 Cons, has completely sorted them. I have no idea what's in them whatsoever. This is going to be a completely live experiment. And you guys are going to actually get to see like what my personal process is. But before we get to that, I want to discuss a few things which I think are very, very important for a team sealed. Number one, have a team captain. This is going to be the person who will get last say. Period. End of subject. End of story. If it comes down to having an argument on the team, you agree in advance that this person is the one who will resolve the arguments, and you will go with that person. If you guys cannot very, very clearly determine who that person's going to be, you are on the wrong team, and you need to find somebody else. Find another team. I don't care how good a player you are. If you don't have a cohesive team, you are going to lose. That's it. If you can't agree, you're going to lose. For me, I like the method we're going to show you, whereas you basically have one deck builder, and that person builds all 3 decks. Now, that's not to say that the other 2 won't contribute to some extent, like looking at cards suggesting that certain ones go into certain frames, or the main deck builder bouncing ideas off of the other people. But you need one person who's going to be the architect of this, because when you have 3 architects, they don't always have the same vision, and if you don't have the same vision, then you end up with cards in decks that aren't most optimal for those decks. And then number 2, especially if you are the architect, you need to take your ego and set it aside. It doesn't matter who plays what. It doesn't. It doesn't matter if you have the strongest deck or if you have the weakest deck. In the end, if your team wins 2 out of 3 matches, your team wins. If you won your match, but your teammates lost, guess what? You lost. That's it. So if there's the whole, well, I won my matches, but my teammates couldn't. If you even remotely have that attitude, don't even go to San Jose. Just don't even show up, because you're going to be a liability on whatever team you happen to be on. And I think your potential teammates will thank you for not being there. So you have to go in with the attitude that if we win as a team, we win as a team. If we lose as a team. There is no individuals. I could tell you, day 2 of Portland, I played the worst deck. I architected them. I built them. I played the worst deck of the 3, and I knew what I was doing. It made the most sense for me to play that deck, so I did. Play your people's strengths. Figure out what do your teammates like to play, and try to put decks in their hands that make sense for their play style. So, with that said, now normally I like to keep a clock going, and I can't really do that so much here. You will get an hour to build in San Jose, and we may be sitting close to an hour here, more because I'm going to be narrating throughout this process as much as I can. So now I'll be real honest. My process is not particularly linear, and it bounces a lot. It hops. It can be very confusing to people. So I'm going to do my very best. I've never actually tried to narrate one of these. Oftentimes my teammates just look at me like I've lost my mind. They don't even know what's going on. Cards start bouncing everywhere, and they're lost. And then when it's done, 3 really good decks end up coming together. So that said, it is 4:25 p.m. Pacific time, and just so we date this is the 19th of January. It is a day after the pre-releases. We have the cards here. I'm going to receive them, and we are going to begin. I have no idea what's actually here, so
I put the cons on top.
Cons, okay. Starting with the cons, I'm just going to run through the names here real fast so you guys can tell. We got to get this to the side here. We have Falconer, Feed Resistance, Cavalry, a Herald of Onofenza, a Kill Shot, Horde Chief, Rush of Battle, Salt Road Patrol, Seeker, Suspension Field, Lamassu, War Behemoth, Watcher of the Roost, Blue, Disdainful Stroke, Embodiment, Force Away ×2, Glacial Stalker, Icy Blast, Wind Scout, Mystic, Scaldkin, Scion, Stubborn Denial, 2 Treasure Cruises. By the way, I would never normally do this. I would just flip through them, but again, for the purposes of this. Black, Saddle Brute, Bitter Rev, Despise, Dutiful Return, Disown Ancestor, Grim Haruspects, Karu Dreadmaw, Molten Snakeskin, Sidisi's Pet, Scavenger, Swarm, 2 Throttles, Red, 2 Barrage, Bloodfire Expert, Bloodfire Mentor, Bringlow, Lurkers, 2 Shatters, 2 Swift Kicks, a Summit Prowler, Green, Awaken ×2, 2 Highland Games, Naturalize, Archer, Savage Punch, Trail of Mystery, Tusk Colossadon, Woolly Loxodon. Multis, we got 2 Abomination of Gaduls, Obzon Charm, Armament Core, Bear's Companion, Chief of the Scale, High Spire Mantis, Teamer Charm, Ponyback Brigade, Ride Down, Sage of the Inward Eye, 2 Snorhorn Riders. Artifacts, Lens of Clarity, Mardu Banner, Teamer Banner. Our lands, we have a Blossoming Sands, we have a Polluted Delta. Rugged Highlands, Sandstep Citadel, Scoured Barrens, 2 Thornwood Falls, and the Windscarred Crag. Now, knowing that there are also lands in the other set, I'm going to go ahead and move directly to those. So we have an additional 2 Blossoming Sands. We have a Crucible of the Spirit Dragons, a Scoured Barrens, a Saltwater Cliffs, a Tranquil Cove, and a Windscarred Crag. I'm hoping that everyone can mostly see these. It's a little bright, but moving on to the Fate Reforged. 2 Obzon Rune Marks, 2 Dragon Bell Monks, an Elite Scale Guard, Great Horn Crucial, Pressure Point, 3 Sandblast, Sandstep Outcast, a Soul Summons, Wandering Champion, Ward Scale Dragon. Blues, Cloud Form, Enhanced Awareness, 2 Jeskai Rune Marks, 3 Jeskai Sages, Mind Scour Dragon, 2 Rakasha's Disdain, Refocus, Sutashi Skullkeeper, Supplant Form, Will of the Naga, Whisk Away, 2 Ride into Beings, Black, Battle Brawler, Grumog, Angler ×3, Sibsig Host, Sultai Emissary, 3 Sultai Rune Marks, Tossiger, the Golden Fang, Tosker's Cruelty ×2. Red, we have triple Bathe and Dragonfire, Bloodfire Enforcers, Break Through the Line, 2 Collateral Damage, 2 Dragon Rage, Lightning Shrieker, 2 Mardu Rune Marks, a Mardu Scout, Smoldering Efreet, Teamer Battle Rage. Green, Obzon Guide, Erishan Warbeast, Feral Crucial, Formless Nurturing. Hang on, I need water. Apparently can't talk. Frontier Mastodon, Fruit of the First Tree, Hunt the Weak, Map the Wastes, 2 Teamer Rune Marks, 2 Teamer Sabertooth, Shamanic Revelation, Whispers of the Wild, Winds of Kalsima, Multicolor. We are into Cunning Strike, Grim Contest ×3, Goblin Boom Keg, Heroes Blade, Scroll of the Masters, Ugin's Construct, and what would it be without Ugin himself? Wow. So this is actually going to be a really great exercise because Ugin is colorless. He could go in any deck. So we have to figure out what's the right deck for Mr. Ugin to go into. So we're going to group these up by color. Put Ugin up here because we know he's going somewhere.
And when I was opening these, Scott, I'm not sure if this is good or not.
If this pool is good?
If this pool is good.
Well,
we'll find out.
We're going to find out. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is I will actually go through here and I'm going to strip the rares. Rares often will define what it is you're going to play. Not completely, but partially. So what we're looking for is we're looking for any rares that could potentially cause themes to appear within decks. Now, I can tell you going through there, I've already come across one, like, immediately, and I'm
Can I
sure
guess?
I'm sure Crash already knows. You don't have to guess. You know what it is, but you can go ahead and tell everyone.
Trail of Mystery.
Absolutely. Trail of Mystery is one of those cards that is a very defining card, and especially in a format where you get to open 12 packs.
It's a lot of face-down creatures.
It's a lot of face-down creatures. So, it's... And especially when you consider the fact that it says whenever a face-down creature enters the battlefield. So, that means every time that you manifest anything like that, Trail's going to trigger. So... There's a Scroll of Masters, and I believe they're... Let's see. Ugh. Okay. So we're gonna look at our... Okay, so two of our rares are lands. Crucible of Spirit Dragon's garbage. So this is gonna be one thing you're gonna note here. Just like garbage cards are just gonna kind of sit over here. These are ones I just know are not gonna make the deck. Period. Like I'll keep in the back of my mind dragons, but in the same respect, I flipped through it. We didn't have any major dragons. We had a couple of like things like Ward Scale Dragon, but they're definitely not enough to justify playing that. Sage of the Inward Eye leads me to think that someone's going to probably be playing Jeskai. I really like that card, especially when you have an Icy Blast, Herald of Onofenza, and Supplant Form. The Herald may or may not make that deck. Trail of Mystery definitely means somebody's going to be playing Morphs. The Grim Horror Specs right there is likely to go in there. The Scroll of the Masters very well could end up in the Jeskai deck because it's very Jeskai-ish. The Siger and the Tasigur or whatever, and the Shamanic Revelation, I'm not sure that... the Tasigur is just a good card. So in any deck that could possibly be running Sultai, we're looking at that. So we're kind of split like this, though everything could very easily change. So the first thing I want to do is the most defining one I have here is Trail of Mystery. But before we even get to that, I need to know what we have from a mana perspective. So this is where I will grab ye old notepad. It's going to go up here. I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to see what I write on it, but so the first thing I want to do here is I want to move my lands out essentially into a grid. And so it's basically going to be white, blue, black, red, moving to white, blue, black, red, green across. So you'll kind of see. What I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to move some of these cards up a bit. Normally we will have a full table.
Usually there's a lot more space.
Yeah, but we're trying to keep it all on camera here. So, so for me to do the grid here. So this is white, red. This is white, blue. White, black. White, green, green. So we're basically starting with anything that's white. Triland will go over there. My watch, which keeps going off over here, that's distracting the crap out of me, is getting its notifications turned off. Move to blue, blue, green, blue, red, black, blue. Actually, we missed a Blossoming Sands here. And we have nothing, it's just black, so we have red, green here. So the first thing I notice is that we're missing two colors completely. This is a dry erase.
Oh, okay.
So what we're missing here is we have no black, red. God, yeah, this is going to be actually very difficult for you guys to see this. We have no black, red, and we have no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. White, blue, black, red. We have no black, green. So those are important to note. Is that basically, so GRB would be a bad combination, which it's lucky because black, red, green is God, I'm terrible at that. Is that
It's not a clan.
No, it is. Well, it's not. Yeah, it's friendly. And somebody right now has got to be like, you idiot, it's such and such, because I can think of what it is. It's a major deck in Modern for the longest time, and just the name is escaping me. Whatever. It's not a clan, so it's not like we're going to be basically kind of shut down on a clan here. Things that we have a lot of, we have 3 white-green, which immediately tells me that white-green is Obzon. So because I'm seeing Obzon here, my likelihood here is to take everything that's Obzon and try putting it together. Well, that green-black that we didn't have, well, that's Obzon. So I'm kind of looking at those as a land-wise. We already know that there's probably a bit of a Jeskai build here. So you have those lands going into Jeskai. We also, within the same respect, I'm going to keep these with the Thornwood Falls and the Rugged Highlands around, because what this is here is this is 7 sources potentially for Trail of Mystery. And if you're going to run a Trail of Mystery deck, you have to have your green to be able to make that work. So Trail of Mystery can kind of just go off on any color it feels like, because that's what it does. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to pull every free... Actually, what I'm going to do before I even hit that is I'm going to go through here. I'm going to pull a card that either absolutely is not going to make a deck no matter what, because I just know it, or is going to be so incredibly situational that I'll remember I'll have it. Like a banner is very situational. You're not going to be like, I need a Teamer banner for this deck. So I'm just going to go through everything here and say anything I just know can't possibly get played like anywhere. Now, this is not very much stuff. Like, I have a pretty wide range of stuff that I'm willing to play. Things that say Rune Mark on them typically go away quickly because they're not good. Like, don't get yourself 2 for 1, guys. It's not good.
Anything that says Lamassu.
Yeah, yes. Naturalize. I mean, I'm keeping some bad cards in here. Cards I don't think are going to make any decks. Rune Mark. But could. Sometimes you don't know. Maybe.
What card was that?
Break Through the Line. I don't see it making any deck, but I think we'd have to have a pretty specialized deck for it to make. Shatters or not making the main deck of anything. Probably not Bloodfire. I'm going to move the Mentor over there. I don't like the card, and I've never played it. Unless I'm really desperate. So, but we'll see. Hey, Rune Marks. Angler. I'm not going to main deck a Dreadmaw or Dutiful Return. I personally don't main deck Despise. I see a lot of people play this card. I don't think it's good. It's not versatile enough. In the late game, it's often just garbage. And sometimes in the early game, it's not even getting what you want. Like, it's not Thoughtseize, guys. But if you're my opponents, you're welcome to play. And by the way, I feel kind of safe doing this because I'm actually not going to San Jose. I'm actually opting to go to Mexico City. There were some reasons. Like, Crash is... When I do a team sealed, I want Crash on my team. It's just that simple because we have a chemistry that allows me to play team captain, and she backs me up on that, and she is simply busy that weekend, so she can't make it, so I opted to go to Mexico City instead. Figured I would just note that.
And I know to take all the Rune Marks out of any possible deck before I give them to you.
Yes. Rakash's Disdain. I'm not playing that card. It's just too situational early. Jeskai Rune Marks are gone. So all we're doing here is we're thinning. We're just thinning anything that's just not going to make it.
And it's another opportunity to see what you have in there.
I'm going to be very sad if I have to play Green Hort Cruise Shock in the main. So we're going to pull that. Rune Marks. Exactly. And she's right. I've never main decked a Lamaso, and I don't intend to start now. Okay, so this is just a stack of cards which we just know. We don't even have to continue to sort through them. They're just not going anywhere. So now I'm going to go through and we're going to pull morphs. And literally, I'm just looking for anything that says the word morph on it. We're not making any determinations right now. We're not making anything beyond that. Because I need to know how many morph cards do we actually have. In the same respect, actually...
Are you going to pull Manifest?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to go back and say. Is that on top of the morphs, I'm also going to pull the Manifests. Which, while they're not quite as good as morphs, they can still be very solid. Trail of Mystery's first ability is far more important in the deck than its second.
Would you consider the cloud form?
Yes. Yeah, because Cloud Form makes the Manifest. Absolutely. Mystic. And see, the problem is I don't know my cards, my Fate Reforged quite well enough yet to just eyeball it. So I might have to go back and be like, oh yeah, that was Manifest. Collaterals, break, forcers, bathes, lurker, green. I'm going to pull the Sabertooths. Partially because they have a lot of good synergy with morphs and or manifests. Like a lot of good synergy. So more than likely, despite the fact that they are not morphs themselves, will more than likely make this deck. Nurturing. God, a Russian War Beast, but I just don't like this card at all. We're going to kind of set it up here. I really don't think that I think it's just too expensive. Morph, morph. 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 Morph, morph. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So, for our Trail of Mystery deck here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We have 20 cards that potentially could make it because they say morph or manifest. Now, this is by no means for sure. So what I'm going to do at this point is actually I'm going to take all of these cards with the Sabertooth. I'm going to set them aside. Like, we're done dealing with that for now. I'm going to move on to our Jeskai build. And again, it's not to say that stuff isn't going to move around later. It very well can. Where did I put it? Okay. So, the Scroll, the Supplant Form, the Icy Blast, and the Sage are basically almost guaranteed all be in the same deck. Herald might not. And the primary reason I say that is because we have a Falconer, so there may be some form of an Outlast theme here. There also could potentially be a Warrior theme. Matter of fact, I want to see if there is a Warrior theme here. And this is going to kind of dictate a little bit where we're going to see, like, I mean, there's a Rush, Warrior, like, feat of resistance. So we're kind of actually looking at both the +1/+1 counter and the warrior theme here, like at the same time, because we're trying to determine. Elite Scale Guard goes under because it has bolster. Assault Road Patrol goes there. The Outcast here we're going to put in the middle because it actually works both ways. Blue doesn't tend to have much. Yeah, this is definitely not Blue's thing. Black. Might have to go through it twice because sometimes I miss things the first time because I'm looking for one thing. There's a warrior. Warrior and Outlast. So Zone Ancestor goes there. Warrior. Red. And yeah, now mind you, at this point, part of my, especially if I'm speaking out loud, is part of my partner's jobs would be to help me anything I miss, because I very well can miss things.
You missed a warrior, but you went back and got it in black. You got about 3 cards past it, but you went back.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing I've seen so far.
So Hunt the Weak kind of works in the +1/+1 counter category. So does Map the Waste. And so does theoretically Frontier Mastodon, but the problem here with that is that you often need Ferocious, so I think it's going to be too situational to even put it over there. Frontier Guide's another one of those that I feel like it's probably going to be too situational, but I guess we'll put it down there for now. Warrior, counters. None of these are warriors, right? No. Now, here's even where we're going to go back and we're going to double check our trail deck because I know there are warriors in here. Just things to consider, like Sultai Emissary is a warrior. Woodley Loxodon's a warrior. Snowhorn Riders are a warrior. Ponyback Brigade's a warrior. So they're kind of up here as well, because if we end up wanting to go that direction, I'm pretty sure we're already over on the number of Morse that we'd play. So they're up there. Looking at this from a warrior perspective, though, our chief, we have the chief and the rush, which are really our only real boosts. Bear's Companion's highly unlikely to get played as a warrior. I mean, neither Snowhorn Riders. We're basically looking at some form of a black-white, maybe. Well, if we're going warriors, it's black-white. So we'd be going here. There might be red, so we might consider the Ponyback and we might consider the Emissary. But the problem I see here is that our only real boosts in this deck is a rush and a chief of the scale. And we don't have any of the major token makers or anything like that. So the warrior theme's gone. We're done there. Now looking at the +1/+1 counter theme to see if we have anything there. We don't have any other Outlast cards that are relevant other than the Abzan Falconer as far as giving abilities. While we do have some other Outlast cards and other things, there's nothing here that really forces me into a theme that feels like +1/+1 counters are going to do something. Scale Guard is good because it kind of works. It's not an Outlast card, but it kind of works like the Falconer in that it's giving abilities to things with +1/+1 counters. I don't see enough here to justify going into that deck specifically. That's not to say that it may not, that all of these may not just end up in an Abzan deck, because it's very likely that they may.
I do see a nice Abzan deck.
But it's not necessarily, we're not necessarily going to be building it around that. So now we're back to Jeskai. So we're going to look for anything that I feel is going to work very well in Jeskai. The feat of resistance is always fantastic in Jeskai. Over here, I'm also noticing a Seeker of the Way, which might work very well in that deck. Like we're looking for the miscellaneous tricks here. Whisk Away is great. Will of the Nog is great. Might work better in a Sultai deck though. So I'm actually going to kind of put Will up here with Tysagor, because more than likely that's going to kind of go together. But we could come back on it. Refocus is another very good one for Jeskai. Like, I don't like Jeskai Sage. I just don't. I feel like you're not getting enough for what you're doing. You need to have a very specific reason to play this card. Sure, Treasure Cruise. No problem with that card. In a Jeskai deck, I don't mind Wind Scouts. I don't mind Force Aways. If we look into red, oh yeah, Art DZ. Okay, so I'm just now catching the chat. Yes, Jund was the black, red, green. I just simply could not come up with.
Yeah, we have people popping in and out of the chat, and Scott's really just kind of focusing on the deck building aspect right now, so it's not going to be super interactive, but we'll debrief after for sure.
Temur Battle Rage very well could actually be pretty good in this deck. I'm looking at the Dragon Rages. I don't think they're going to necessarily be great. Collateral Damage, no. The Bathes are fine. Bring Low's fine. I don't hate Cunning Strike, Ride Down, or High Spire Mantis potentially in this deck. So now we're just kind of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so now we're sitting kind of on 20. So we're going to kind of do the same thing here now that we did with the Trail of Mystery deck, is that we're going to take this and we're just simply going to set it aside. Get the feet up in there too. Okay, so now we're kind of down to a third deck here of this maybe just being kind of a real all over the place thing, which could be Obzon, because Siger does not have to be Sultai, even though its colors are. If you have black and green, you can run Siger. So we sort of set up a bit of a Obzon deck here earlier, and I think we can actually maybe run with this a little bit. Now the Feat of Resistance we're going to kind of put in the middle here, because this could go actually anywhere. Might end up in the middle. If we're going to go Obzon, I want to look at my lands again real fast. On that, Obzon puts us 6 lands deep. I become a little worried on the Trail of Mystery, but let's kind of see what develops here in a solid Obzon deck. So Obzon can kind of get the best of both worlds here in that it can run the solid warriors and it can run the solid counter cards, and it just doesn't care. So Battle Brawler isn't necessarily fantastic because you don't run red and white, but since you only need one, it's fine. Chief of the Scale is fine. I don't know about Rush of Battle. I like to be really warrior-centric to do that. Saddle Brute's awesome. Scavenger. The Emissary, I'm more likely to want to put back in the Trail deck. Horde Chief's just solid. If we don't go into red, obviously, the Ponyback Brigade's not going to get there. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So what I want to do now is I want to kind of look through here my other Obzon stuff and see, like, what do we have that's solid? Now, we have the Sandblast as well, and these are things I actually kind of missed there in the Jeskai build. So we're going to kind of put them with the feet, is that they could end up going either place. Let's see who needs what. Actually, same with the kill shot, same with the suspension field. And even the pressure point, though, I haven't found pressure point to be as outstanding as I would like it to be. These are also potential Jeskai. They're potential Jeskai creatures, and we're probably going to have to go back. I don't see Firehoof Cavalry making any team here whatsoever. Ward Scale Dragon is very possible as a high end here on Abzan. So let's just kind of shove it in there. Now again, guys, this is not linear. As you guys are already seeing, this is like I'm all over the map here. Swarm of Bloodflies is quite solid. Maybe the Anglers, because we have the Tasigur, because we want to delve out things that we don't want our opponent giving us back. But I don't know yet. But we're going to kind of hold on this. I'm not a big fan of Throttle, especially in Team Sealed. I feel like there's better cards. Savage Punch is great. Maybe the Awakens. Maybe Whisper of the Wild for sure. We have an Abzan Charm here that's going to make it. I do like some butt fighting. And you're allowed to call it a butt fight.
Gross.
I'm just telling you right now, you're allowed to call it a butt fight.
That's awful.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. For anyone who is catching me midstream, this is going to go up on YouTube when it's all said and done. So, absolutely, you'll be able to catch the entire thing starting over. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. Okay, so we're kind of in here on a reasonably solid Abzan deck. So, I'm going to put the War Beast over here. I don't see it making it. Shamanic Revelation is a huge maybe. So we kind of have our 3 decks. So what I want to do now is I'm actually going to take every other card that we haven't set aside, and I'm just going to look at it and go, is this card good somewhere? Like, should I be considering this? Hero's Blade, abso-freaking-lutely. That is going in one of the decks. I am probably most inclined to want to put this in the Trail deck. Boomcake, possibly. Ugin's Construct, it would be amazing in the Trail deck, since you're going to be playing so much face-down stuff. Getting it early could just be a good 4-5. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to make it, but of all the 3 decks, that's definitely where I could see it going. We're really not building into Sultai, so things that are Sultai-ish. Mindscour Dragon could potentially end up in Jeskai. I don't see that. We're nothing teamer, so the Stubborn's not making it.
We didn't see a teamer deck.
We're definitely not going to be having enough in blue to play Scion. I think Skullkin's going to be too weak. We're not teamer. I don't personally like playing this card unless I have a very specific reason to do so. I think it's better in Two-Headed Giant, but it's not that great here. Again, I don't love Throttle. We don't have like an aggressive Mardu deck. Bitter Rev possibly could end up in the Abzan deck. Again, the Gurmag Anglers may be in the Abzan deck, but probably not more than one. Not the Cruelty. Not the Sibstic Host. Again, Dragon Rage is one of those you really need an aggressive deck with like Tokeny, which we don't have. This card's garbage. We don't have an aggressive deck. The Dragon's not relevant. You really want tokens for collateral, but I'm going to set them aside anyway because it's just a solid card. Break, no. Bloodfire Enforcers, I mean, I feel like this card could be really, really good, but like it's so fragile. Summit Prowler's too color intensive. Swift Kick's just not good enough. Bloodfire Expert, I'm going to kind of throw over here with the possible Jeskai creatures, but I really hope I'm not playing it. Barrage of Boulders, it's not going to make anyone's main. It's going to make someone's board. No on the Mastodon, no on the Winds. Fruit of the First Tree is one of those cards I really like, but you really kind of need a teamer build for it. Not the Crew Shocks or that. Highland Games possibly in one of the either Obzon or Trail decks if we're really short on 2-drop. It won't even make the Trail. I know it won't make the Trail deck. Maybe the Obzon deck, but I really hope not. I just don't like the card very much unless you need filler. We're not Teamer. We're not Teamer. We're not Mardu anywhere. Though I'm going to still kind of put this back up in the Trail deck because that can end up anywhere. No on the Rush. I like Awaken, but I don't think we're going to have room for it anywhere. We'll put it in the possibles for Obzon. So all of these gone. So now we're just kind of left with what we're left here. So let's look at the Obzon deck. Let's look at the Trail deck because I feel like this is going to be one of our limiters here as far as like lands go. So let's split it back out by color. And let's see if we can identify any color or colors that are just so light that we can just be like, it's not worth even trying for it. So we have 4 red cards and we have 5 black cards. Those are the ones I could potentially see. Actually, and we're actually really short on white cards as well. Now, we're so short on white cards that Watcher of the Roost actually is now no good because we're not going to be able to ever flip it. So we're going to get it out of the deck. We're going to throw it with the Obzon colors for now. The beautiful thing about morphs, though, is that you don't necessarily have to cut down. You don't. Especially if you're running into single colors. We're definitely reasonably heavy here on the blue. And, red becomes our main color. What we need to determine here is what are we going to do about removal? We don't really have much in the way of removal in this deck. So we do have a number of options up here within white. They're just not options I'm ever going to want to reveal with Watcher of the Roost. So, now, all this said, right now, I can already tell you the Ugin is going in the Trail deck. And the reason behind that is that the Trail deck is going to be running a lot of mana. It's going to be hopefully not missing land drops. So, because of that, Ugin, you're going to thin and you're going to have the highest probability of being able to get to Ugin on turn 8 in this deck. So we want to put him where he most belongs. And frankly, we're already going to be really low on removal. This guy may be very important in being able to win out in a late game. So we're very creature heavy here in this deck. I have to consider everything that's makes manifests into creatures. So now let's see what we're left with here with pure morphs and manifest cards. And now we're going to split them up. Again, not linear, not even close to linear. The Sabertooths, again, are neither, but they're just. Now, that said, as soon as I say that, the Sabertooths are really good if you have a number of spells. If you don't have a lot of spells to return, the Sabertooths may actually not be that good. So, again, non-linear, constant reevaluation. Morph, 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 morph. Trail Ugin. Now, if you are heavy or creature heavy, manifests really good, especially if you're already looking to purge your lands. So more than likely, your manifests can hit your morphs or hit your other creatures. Now, the problem there being is that why flip up the 5 when you can flip it up for 3? So, because we're not seeming like we're going to be playing a lot of spells, like things are definitely going to make it in a deck like this. The Stalker is going to make it. Rider, Rider, Abomination, Abomination. I like Archer a lot in this deck. Loxodon, Haruspex, Mystic. These are like pretty much your guaranteeds. 6, 7, 8, 9. We definitely want to get more than that in there. I like as much variety as possible. Right into Being is great because it gives you a sort of a scry effect to help find you your trail if you can't otherwise. Plus, it's a dude. Cloud Form, flying and hexproof is pretty good. My only concern there is the double blue, which could be actually rather difficult for a deck like this. Sultai Emissary, I'm questioning pretty hard here. Soul Summons is... I'm on the fence. I like Formless Nurturing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're going to want some defensive creatures. 14. So 15, 16, 17. We definitely need things that can deal with other things here. So 17, I'm more than likely wanting things that are going to be able to pick things off. So I actually like probably the Kill Shot and the Suspension Field and at least 2 of the Sandblasts here.
Did we have some Bathe and Dragonfires?
Yes. The problem with Bathe and Dragonfire is that it is a sorcery. So having to tap 3 of our lands on our turn for a sorcery isn't as good as we'd like. We'd like to stay open if possible. And they are likely going to end up in the Jeskai deck, where I think they're going to be better.
Good point.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so once again, we're going to set this deck aside. Now minus these cards. We're now going to pick back up the Jeskai deck. You see where we're going here? We're kind of back and forth and back and forth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Separate them into creatures and not creatures. Sorcery, sorcery. Instant, creature, sorcery. Instant, creature, instant. So this is a problem. We need more than this. We already have 3 flyers. Mindscour Dragon's very interesting. I think he may be just too expensive. And he's not... God, it's really hard to pass on a 4/4 flyer. But do we really want... We don't really want to put anything in our yard. And we don't really necessarily want our opponent putting anything in their yard. So I don't see that. And that's not going to have a home. So there it goes. A supplant form you can kind of count as a creature. I don't think Ride Down is going to be great in this deck. Possibly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So for 14, then we're definitely going to need at least 9 creatures, and I think 14 is going to be high. I think the Cunning Strike is going to be a little too expensive for us. Really, we need to hit at least 11 creatures here. 11 creatures, 12 spells. I don't like going more than that. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So we need to cut one more spell up in here. I'm more inclined to leave those. We don't actually have any white at all, but we have the feet and the sandblast, which we know they're going to go somewhere. Odds are, I think it's going to be the Obzon deck. Like, I think the feet for sure is going to go up in Obzon. Probably don't need more than one cruise in this deck. Though I think the Sandblast could definitely be benefited by this deck. And I think it's better than Bring Low. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12. So now we need to find 11 solid quality creatures to put in here. 2, 4, 5. Again, counting the supplant form as a creature. We can count the cloud form. That's 6. Heck, cloud form flipping a number of things could actually be pretty good. This isn't going to work. So now here's where I have to say, okay, maybe I missed something. And now I actually start going back through. And I'm going to look for Jeskai creatures that I think possibly might be good enough to play. Possibly the Prowler. Though I really don't want to play him. Scaldkin, actually. I don't hate Scion of Glaciers. Alright, so we're definitely going to be running tight here. I think we're going to end up playing some creatures we maybe don't want to play, but we'll be okay with because being able to get their Jeskai-ish. Flyers, I think, actually become important here. So even though we really don't want to do anything with this Mind Scour Dragon, I think we're going to need to. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This guy's a 3/1 for 2. He's going to really help in the 2-drop slot. And then outside of that, do we want the 3/1 prowess or do we want the 2/2 vigilance prowess? I'll take the 2/2 vigilance prowess. Now, do I like this other 2/2 vigilance prowess over anything else that we've played here? Looking at our drops real fast. 2, 6, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6. I mean, we're reasonably curved out here. I'm not going to play the expert. I don't see the monk being better than anything we have here. Maybe better than the Scaldkin, but it flies. Maybe better than the Scion of Glaciers, pushing us more into 3-drops. So let's put the monk in over the Glaciers. No, because the Glaciers is going to play more defense for us, which we may need to be able to fly overhead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 22, 23. Okay, so we have 23 cards here. I think we're going to be pretty solid on this as a Jeskai build.
As just a quick comment, I played 2 of the Vigilance monks over the weekend, and you don't want to.
Why?
They're ineffective at blocking, as they only are 2/2s, so they'll trade with stuff, but unless you have something to trigger the prowess defensively.
Well, I don't know what you were playing.
I would have much more liked
we have Sandblast, Force, Whisk, Refocus, Blast, and Temur Battle Rage. Temur Battle Rage could be this with the Sage. It could be very ugly. But I see what you're saying.
I don't know. Just a thought. That was my experience over the weekend. But again, it's a totally different deck. And my Jeskai pool over the weekend, not as strong as this.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because this is the hyper Jeskai pool.
Now, these Temur Saber Battletooths are good. They're going to want to find their way into a deck. They're going to find their way into the Obzon deck. So we're now going to, once again, as we've done, we're going to split it out into sorceries and creatures. I can already tell you these games are not making it. Like, I'm already going to have to make cuts. I don't see this Bitter Revel. Maybe. We are a 3-color deck here. I love Map the Wastes. I just don't know if it's necessary in this particular deck. So we're going to go ahead and pull it. I think same with the Enoch Guide. Like, we're just not necessarily going to have to play the game of let's find our mana and put it on top. So I'm kind of putting out cards I think absolutely should be making the deck. Salt Road actually should not absolutely be making the deck. We like the butt fights. I don't think we're going to like the Awakens. We do like the Feat. We do like the Savage Punch. We do like the Abzan Charm. These are maybes, though I really like the Hunt. So, Sabertooth. So now we're sitting on 19 cards I feel absolutely need to make this deck. How much white do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's enough to play Watcher. That's 20. And we could use some top end. So Ward Scale Dragon puts us on 21. I'm looking at our curve. Our curve's really not that high. Like, we kind of hit 5 a little bit. This guy delves out. I think we're looking at a 17 lander here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 21. So we need 2 more cards here. Let's curve this to see maybe what slots we could use things in. 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. And if you've caught this in the middle, guys, you've got to think I'm insane at this point, because you probably haven't caught my part of the speech about this not being linear. It'll all make sense if you watch it from the beginning. I think it will. Maybe my brain just works really weird.
It's quite something to watch, though.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. We need 2 cards. We're pretty heavily good here. In on the 3 slot, like maybe 1 more, but I'd be okay with playing a 4. I think Hunt the Weak is really good. And in within this, I think the mana acceleration is not bad, so put the Whisper in there. So there are good cards here that are not making this deck. And, I mean, notably this.
Do they have a home anywhere else?
No, because we have Just Guy deck and we have a Trail of Mystery deck. It really just, there's no real place to put them. So, So, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 8, 9, 20, 22, 23. 23 in the Abzan. 23 on the Just Guy. Back to the trail. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So now we're looking for cards to fill out this deck. We know we need some form of, like, a little bit of removal. So we're kind of just going to start taking the leftovers, like Bring Low will go into here. And how many big creatures do we actually have here? Like, we actually have not as many big creatures as I would like. 4. I was looking at the Shamanic Revelation, but I just don't see anything being big enough to make this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I'm okay with this actually being an 18 land deck. So Ugin's Construct probably not good enough to make this deck. But then again, looking on it, maybe. It's a 4-drop 4/5. We also have the Hero's Blade. We have forgotten about this card. This card needs to go somewhere. My inclination is to want to actually put it into the Jeskai deck because it's going to be low on creatures. We need to make them a little harder to kill or have them pack a bit more of a punch. So that said, we need to pull a non-creature spell to make this work, which may work well for us here. Like if we go through here and maybe pull... Maybe we just go ahead and pull the Sandblast for it. Now, is this card expensive? Yes, it's expensive. Do we have any legends to put it on? No, we don't have any legends to put it on. Do we care? No. Equipment is at a premium in this environment. Dear God. Roar. 5/7. Hell. 5/4 prowess. Vigilance. Roar. So I think we're going to pull the Sandblast. That's my idea, is that that it may actually consider going into the trail deck as one more piece of removal. So I really... Because Ugin's high, yes. But really, if you start looking past that, like, we're really not over 5. Outside of maybe the Loxodon. Sandblast. Ugin's Construct, good card. Just don't see a home for it. Maybe if we want to get rid of one of our Morph cards, or something here that's weaker, which I suppose we could. I mean, there's things like War Behemoth, which is a little on the iffy side. Yeah, I think Behemoth is a little iffy. We can put Construct in instead. Now, actually, though...
Also helps with mana.
Guess what? We just freed up a War Behemoth, and we have a deck that needs creatures. While it's not that great here, I think we might find that it finds a home here. Yeah, I don't really want to pull anything here. So if we're looking at things that are weak on the creature side, flying, 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 flying. I think we need to keep our flyers way too damn good. Way too damn good. Flying. I mean, again, any of these with a Hero's Blade just can be a game ender. Man, I just keep coming back to this Wandering Champion. I just don't feel like it's going to deal combat damage to a player too often with you having a blue or red permanent on the board. We're going to off it in favor of the War Behemoth, which can play more ground defense. Okay. The trail deck is the most important one to get its mana correct on. So now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to use the Sharpie for this. 5 lines. What we're doing here is we're going to split things back out by color. I know we've done this like 18 times, but every time it serves a different purpose. Now we're getting our mana right. We have our decks. Here's our multis. White, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 white cards. Blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blue. Black is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Red is 1, 2, 3, 4. Green is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're pretty spread. And some people might be like, Scott, what happens if you don't see your trail of mystery? Well, guess what? There are going to be games we're not going to see our trail of mystery. But we have a lot of morphs, and mana likes to find a way. Now, we also have a delta here. One of my favorite tricks in a 17 and a 40 deck, when I have a fetch land, especially if I'm kind of back and forth as to whether or not it should be a 17 or 40 or an 18 or 40, is I will go 18 and 41, which becomes a real easy call with a fetch land. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys the mathematics behind why 18 and a 41 is okay. There are many of you who are going to be like, oh, you never play more than 40. Never. It's so wrong. It's so scrubby. You're wrong. I don't care if you are some guy who's never played past F&M or if you are Shahar Shenhar. I mentioned him because he's the current world champion. There are a lot of good players too. I don't care who you are. If you say that 41 is never right, you're wrong. By the way, I'm not saying that Shahar would say that either, but again, he's the world champion, so he's the person whose name I'm throwing out. The mathematics works. 42, never, ever, ever. 41, sometimes. I really like it with a fetch land. So I think we're going to look at 18 lands here in this deck. Now, what do we have over here? I feel like the Tri-Land may actually not go in the Abzan deck. And that's the funny thing about this. Though then again, it may. There's a lot of multicolor stuff here. So it may actually be really important to keep the Tri-Land in the Abzan deck. I think the Jeskai lands should probably stay in the Jeskai deck, which is pretty easy to do because they're not green-based. Those 3 green-based lands are definitely going to end up there. I think the Abzan non-green-based lands should end up in the Abzan deck. Past this, well, you know, I might even be willing, let's see, red and white. We're not going to have a lot of red otherwise. I don't want to put a lot of mountains in. So actually, I think we're gonna snag one of the Craigs there, and we'll go 3 lands here. We're definitely going to play these into the Abzan deck. I think we're going to put 1 Blossoming Sands there and put the other 2 here. So 5 of our 6 lands here are going to be green-based. We're just trying to spread it around a little bit, and it's difficult because you only have so many. We didn't miss these somewhere, did we, with the Jeskai deck? Or the, this deck. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. No, we just set them aside because they didn't have a color. So, these are going to be the 6 fixers that we play for this. So, white, we have 3. A blue, 2. We have no black. But that's kind of okay because we're only running 5 black. 2 red. And green, it's almost all of them, 5. Now, with having no black whatsoever, I'm actually inclined to swap a Barrens for a Sands. Leaves our white count the same, puts our black at 1, puts our green at 4. Which I don't like hurting the green count, but I really don't want to have to go too deep on black basics with only 5 cards. So, and we have the delta. So, delta's on top because we're already going to run at least one of every basic anyway because of the trail, except you don't actually have to run green because you have to have green to cast the trail, though we're going to anyway. So the delta becomes a natural fit here because we know we're going to run one of everything. So we have essentially 6. We need 17. We need 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, where do the other 6 go? Make everything at least 4, I think. So 1, 2, maybe not. I think the red, we're just going to put in the 1. So that's 6, 7, 8. And then we need 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Now, that said, we're going to straight up put the Blossoming Sands back in. Change that to 4. Change that back to 5. We need to pull a card. We're going to pull a white source. I still don't like this, though. We're really low on blue. Blue-red is kind of a problem. The problem being is I don't want to put in another mountain. Like, I really want 4 red sources, though. So I think we're going to actually purge Eclipse out of here. 3, 3, but now we have to pull one more thing. We can't pull the mountain. I think we actually have to pull from green. So is the mana base here a little hairy? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's really hairy. But a lot of stuff is morph, so it's not that big of a deal that it is hairy. So I need basic lands. It's just not come to my attention that we need basic lands. Now again, if I weren't narrating this whole process, it would go a lot faster. So, we need a plains. We need 3 islands, 3 swamps, 1 mountain, 1 forest. With the delta, this should we're cutting an island, we're putting in another forest. I had to remember that we actually have the delta in there as well. So that gives us essentially another blue source. It's just so important for us to find green. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 41. Book it. Jeskai. Now we only have 2 lands here for Jeskai. 2 white, 1 red, 1 blue. So we're definitely less here on the fixing.
Where are there more lands?
I don't.
I'll look in your.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find. Yeah, there's a box called lands in there. Sorry, we're trying to determine where land is around here. The things we don't prepare for. White. You'll see what's actually funny about this deck is really blue, splash red, white. We only have 5 white cards. And we only have 6 red cards. But blue, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12, 13 blue cards, which is good because all of our doubles exist in blue. So, like, they're completely supportable without a problem, including even cloud form. So, needing 17 lands. Total here we have 2, we need 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, one's a morph. Kill 1 planes. So we're going to run 3 planes, we're going to run 7 islands, and we're going to run 5 mountains. So 3 planes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mountains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. Book it. Sorry, I'm having to look at something real fast here in the computer. My apologies. Obzon. Again, tricolor. 3 lands on this one. They all produce white. 2 produce black, 2 produce green. We're needing 14 lands here. Definite consideration being paid into both white and green because there are doubles of those. Oh, though their white tends to be late. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Black is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. With the green being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a fixer. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We are just real even across the board here. We need 14 lands, and this becomes real simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7, 7, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always make sure you count them at the end, so you'll notice how I do this every time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. Book it. Now, are we done? No. Close, but not yet. Guess what? We have a whole stack of stuff over here that needs to go somewhere. Now, we know that if it's blue or red, it's not going in Obzon, and if it's black or green, it's not going in Jeskai. Anything could go here. So, what we're actually going to do here is we're going to start by putting blue and red in one stack, black and green in another. Hang on, blue and red, black and green. Because you can sideboard. It's red, so it's there. Anything Teamer is going to automatically go into the trail deck because neither of the other 2 decks could support it. Now the question what you do is you're going to go through the green and the black, and the only question you're asking yourself is, do I think there's any chance that the Trail of Mystery deck might want this card? And if the answer is no, then it's going into the Obzon sideboard. Hang on, I have them backwards. This is Obzon, this is Trail. The Dutiful Return, maybe. I mean, all of this is pretty unlikely on some of these. Most of the things that we have on our board at this point are probably not important to come in. No. The throttles are interesting. I'm actually going to split them 1 and 1 on a just in case situation. Stays. No, actually, the winds are going to move over here. The fruit would stay here. Split the games just in case there's an aggro deck. The Map the Way should definitely go over in that deck. I think Bitter Rev, the Angler stays here. The Guide would go over here if we run into the mana issues, as would the Emissary. Revelation should stay in the Obzon deck. Split the Awakens and put the Swarm here. Red, blue, same considerations. And we're just kind of going through here. We're like, no. Put the Embodiment there just in case. Oh, there's no chance really that this deck's going to use the Stubborn Denial, so we'll put it over there. Draw. Yeah. Split the Barrages just in case. Again, you want to bring 1 in. You don't necessarily need to bring 2 in. Same with the Swift Kicks. Probably not likely. The Break Through the Line might actually be okay for the Trail deck. Like if it needs to get speedy somehow, I can't imagine bringing it in. But again, they have to go somewhere, so use some logic as to where they might. Mardu Scout, no. Dragon Rage, far more likely to be useful here, though pretty garbage in both. Sages will stay. The Ride Down stays. Strike will stay. We have 1 cruise here. Let's put the other cruise there. Will's not going to be supported over there. Split the Collaterals. Put the Lurkers in that board and there. So now, let's see, 1 dragon really doesn't matter at all on that. Here, just to make these guys feel better, we'll give them some crappy sideboard cards. Goblin Boom Keg is actually interesting. I think all 3 of our decks are okay on removal. Like, I don't think anyone would necessarily bring this card in. But if it's going to be anyone, I think it'd be the Trail deck. And now the white is just like, large flyer, rune marks, who cares? Black or green. Defensive creature, spell that taps, warriors, Jeskai-ish, Outbash-ish, warrior, Jeskai, soul summons goes there. Guys, we're done. Main, Obzon. Yeah, Obzon. Second thoughts. So, again, sometimes you even end up at the last second, you're like, oh crap, maybe I should have done something different here. I'm going to move the Sandstep Citadel into the Trail of Mystery deck. And I felt like we were coming up a little shorter on the white than I would have liked. But actually, I don't think it matters, because we're going to be giving back a white either way. So is it black or green? I think we're good on green. So we're going to give back the Blossoming Sands. That messes with the ratio almost negligibly. We have one less black. Actually, I wouldn't say it's completely negligible here. Actually, it's going to make us put in another swamp. And we're going to just quickly look. Which one are we okay? We have early drops in white. Quicker early drops in white. We'll get rid of a forest. There we go. Obzon, Jeskai, Trail, board. Now you just throw them onto the sheet.
And Scott, I don't know if you mentioned this because I stepped away, but each player has to register their own sideboard.
Yes, correct. And that's why we split up there. You guys...
You can't share them.
It's not a shared sideboard, so everyone has to have their own, which is why I'm not going to say a ton of thought went into the sideboard, but there was thought that went into where the cards could go and which decks may or may not be most likely to bring them in. So, this process, looking over it with commentating and all, certainly took...
Started at 4:25?
I think we went live about then. We talked for a little while. So it took us maybe an hour 15. Would have been done a lot faster, if I hadn't had to talk through everything. You generally need to be done with your decks by about the 50-minute point, so you have 10 minutes to register. And once you have decks set, you can start handing them to your teammates to have them register. So the builder doesn't necessarily have to be the register on the decks. And again, like you saw, I made some very last-second changes to decks based on things that I saw. You can always just go scratch, change, and call a judge if you need to, if that happens. Just make sure you get it right. So, if this is the pool I got in San Jose, these are the 3 decks I'd play. More than likely, knowing people the way I do, I would play the Trail deck. I'd probably put Crash on the Obzon deck.
Yep.
And probably the other person would likely end up with the Jeskai deck, but it would depend on who that person... Actually, that's the sideboard. They would more than likely play this deck, but maybe not. I mean, the Trail deck, while it's 5 colors, is kind of straightforward. This one involves a little bit more in the way of decision making, so I don't know. It would depend. So that's it, guys. That is my primer. If you have any questions, this is going to be up on YouTube. Throw them in the notes. For anyone who's on Twitch watching, first of all, if you're on Twitch watching, I hope you followed, and I haven't bored you to death here. We stream all the time. Let's go ahead. We're going to go. I think I hit the wrong button, because this is what I'm looking for. Man, I can't hit anything right today. What happened to shows? If you have any questions, certainly put them in YouTube. If you want to watch us stream games, and we stream lots of them, go to twitch.tv/thegamersdome. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/thegamersdome. And YouTube is at youtube.com/thegamersdome YT for YouTube. You can find all these links at our website, thegamersdome.com. For those going to San Jose, I'd love to know what you think. Do you think I'm full of crap? Do you like it? If you take the advice and you use it and you do well, tell me in the notes. I want to know if this was proved to be useful to you guys. Or if you don't go to San Jose, you're just playing a local Team Seal. Team Seal's a lot of fun. You should give it a try. So, anyway, this has been Scott Gerhardt for the Gamers Dome, along with... You want to say your name? Melissa.
Crash.
A.K.A. Crash. And we will see you guys next time. Keep playing, everyone. Bye.